Dream there, you're the best thing. It is Liverpool live. Good afternoon. I'm laughing because literally the dog must know that we're going live on air and stuff like that, because he's just literally jumped on Jonathan and given the biggest wet kiss you've ever seen in your life. Jonathon Kelly, basically, your local lad, and you've opened a veterinary practice in Bootle, haven't you? Litherland and Bootle.
Yeah, Litherland, that's right. Yeah.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Great to have you on board.
Yeah.
I've been excited about this because there's so many questions, and we are a nation of animal lovers, aren't we? You know, I've had dogs for years and years and years. I'm not a cat person as such. I mean, I've had a few different types of pets and stuff like that, ranging from like little Yorkies up to this beast that's in the studio now. But yeah, sorry, I'll just get you on the right. Turn that microphone up a little bit. So yeah, it's good to have you in.
Thank you. Thanks for
so I
inviting
mean,
us.
just before we sort of delve into it, what's your background? How come you became a vet? You know, at what age did you think, do you know what, I want to look after animals and stuff like that, rather than be a train driver or be a policeman or whatever?
Yeah, so I think, as a child, I was sort of blessed to have animals in the family, friends, with animals, and we were very lucky. And, as a boy from Bootle, I always, when we had animals, struggled with the veterinary care options that we had. We had to travel out of town to find a good quality practice. So when I decided, sort of as a bit of a sort of light-hearted competition between a friend and I, that a vet was the profession that I'd like to go into.
Yeah.
There was a lot of challenges on the way, to get to where I did, but I always knew that my aim was to have my own practice, have it independent, sort of build that sort of community sort of feel, really, and sort of go back to my roots.
Yeah, because I mean, as I say, you're a local lad, and you've opened a local practice, which is an independent practice, which is different to sort of the larger practices. What do you call them? The large ones?
So there's sort of large veterinary groups, or the
veterinary
corporate
groups.
practices.
Yes.
So it's an independent. So it's owned by myself and my wife. She isn't a vet, but she's sort of part of the business as well. And we've got a fantastic small team at the moment. We've only been open just over 5 months. So it's nice to be able to provide an independent option, which means that we can sort of tailor the care that we provide to every individual that comes in. Forget about the demographic, forget about the age of the animal, the medications. We can tailor every single treatment course based on the animal that walks through the door, the owner that walks through the door, and it's nice to be able to.
How long does it take to become a vet?
Well, so you've obviously got school, you've got college, and then university. So university as a standard course is 5 years. Took me 7 years.
So in order to go to university, what sort of minimum qualifications? Just in case there's anybody out there thinking, do you know what, my son or my daughter would love to be a vet, and they love animals and they're thinking of nothing else. So what do they need to aim for from the school age?
So the aim is to do as well as you can in your GCSEs as a younger child. Look at trying to get some experience with animals, whether that's doing dog walking with people, going and working in some rescue centres, working in some stables, just getting a little bit of experience, understand just the care of animals as a start is really important. And then obviously do as well as you can your GCSEs, and then focus your sort of plan in terms of what the veterinary course that you would like to attend requires.
So is there different veterinary courses, or is it pretty much all one thing?
There's a few veterinary schools across the UK. Generally, they all sort of request sort of chemistry, biology, maths or science, so physics as an extra option. But you can do it in different ways. So some people aren't able to achieve the grades in those subjects. Some aren't able to get onto those courses, and you can go round into animal care courses. You could go into veterinary nursing and then change into veterinary if you want to. Obviously, there's lots of sort of costs that may be involved in doing that as time goes on. But there's no one particular route into the course. But the science is sort of science heavy, but again, a lot of it is experience. And I think from my point of view, I was very lucky. I went to the Royal Veterinary College in London. I only got 3 C's at A level, you know. So and
I came out of school with a spirit level,
yeah.
and that was it.
Yeah, you know,
Nothing else.
You know, and I think it's really important that I'm very honest with people that I got 3 C's at A level. All of the veterinary courses request 2 A's and a B at least. So I did an access course down at the Royal Veterinary College, which gave me the opportunity which wouldn't have been available, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And here I am now. And I think when I look at the experience that I've got, a lot of it was based on being able to talk to clients, talk to owners, have good relationships with the animals. It wasn't all about the academics.
Yeah.
It has to be there.
Oh, yeah, you've got to be very personable, haven't you?
Yeah, but I
because
think a lot of it is...
if you're abrupt with people or this, that, and the other, they just won't come back.
Yeah, well, exactly.
At the end of the day, you're a business.
Yeah. But you want to make
gotta
people
survive.
feel comfortable.
You have, and also
happy
build up
to.
the trust.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's a little bit about you and your background. Literally, we're just scratching the surface. We're going to go for a quick tune, and then we've got some questions from our listeners for you. Great to have you in, and again, thanks for coming in.
No
I'm really looking forward to this segment, getting into it.
Go easy on me now, Your Honor. Cause I got caught, but she's a pretty lady. Ban me to rights, cause I'm a goner. I must admit, I was a little bit crazy. If you choose to lock me up, do I get one call a day? Cause this girl's got me all tied up, so throw the key away. Cause I'm guilty, guilty. Take me to your heart, it's where I will be, will be. Handcuffed to your love because I'm guilty, guilty. Darling, go ahead and arrest me, cause I'm guilty loving you. Cause I'm guilty loving you. Cause I'm guilty loving you. Beyond the doubt I was a wrongin'. I look around, I know the jury hate me. Don't think my past has been forgotten. I made mistakes and then this girl, she saved me. If you choose to lock me up, do I get one call a day? Cause this girl's got me all tied up, so throw the key away. Cause I'm guilty, guilty. Take me to your heart, it's where I will be, will be. Handcuffed to your love because I'm guilty, guilty. Darling, go ahead and arrest me, cause I'm guilty loving you. Cause I'm guilty loving you. Cause I'm guilty loving you. So I'm waiting on the verdict of my love. A life sentence, but boy, I deserve it. Cause I'm guilty, guilty. Take me to your heart, it's where I will be, will be. Handcuffed to your love because I'm guilty, guilty. Darling, go ahead and arrest me, cause I'm guilty loving you. Cause I'm guilty loving you. Cause I'm guilty loving you.
Ollie Murs there with Guilty. And luckily enough, I've not said that in front of a judge for at least a week or two. It is Liverpool Live. It is 18 minutes past the hour of 12 o'clock. And I'm lucky enough to have Jonathon Kelly from Rimrose Vets in the studio. Once again, Jonathon, thank you for coming in.
Yeah,
and
no
I've got some questions for you now.
Yeah, no problem.
So Jackie Greer, she's messaging, says, any advice on keeping an indoor cat calm to avoid anxiety when workmen are in the house making lots of money?
Yeah,
making lots of noise. Sorry,
Yeah.
that was a Freudian slip, wasn't it? Workmen in the house making lots of money.
So anxiety is a big one, especially for indoor cats. So indoor cats sort of themselves, anxiety is generally higher than.
So when you say indoor cats, is that
So
like
indoor
cats that live in the?
Yeah, so they live in the house. They don't go out. They maybe go into the garden. Maybe the owners have built a small sort of annex, sort of cattery. You know, they call that. They can go and get some outside fresh air, but generally, sort of indoor cats are cats that never leave the confines of the house. And a lot of those cats, not all, but a lot of those cats, their stress levels generally are just a little bit higher than the average cat. So in terms of things that you can do when workmen sort of come around, so give them safe places to hide. So whether that's in a bedroom, out of the way with blankets or T-shirts with your smell on, is one thing that you can do. You can use some of the over-the-counter pheromone or sort of plugins. So there's a few different sort of options you can use that are release pheromones into the air to try and just reduce anxiety.
So is this similar to, I mean, obviously we're past bonfire night now,
Exactly.
but it's a thing now in the UK to have fireworks on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing.
So yeah,
and
so it
that
sort of
upsets
crosses
the
over.
pets, yeah.
Exactly. So, it's important to try and plan. So of course, sometimes you can't plan workmen coming in, but most of the time you've got a couple of weeks to go. We know when they're coming, and you want to get the plugins in place, some of the sprays, setting the sort of house up, and should add extra litter trays. That's another important one. So generally with litter trays, always make sure that there's one more litter tray than the number of cats in the household. It is really important because stress can often lead to issues such as cystitis, so struggling to urinate or inappropriate urination, pulling out their fur, things like that. So, and of course, if you are concerned, prior to any of these things, it would definitely be worth approaching your vet and saying, look, we've got something coming up. We are concerned. Is there anything that you could advise or possibly prescribe that might make things a little bit easier for our cats?
So if you were to think, well, do you know what? I've got some workmen coming in. Is it the easier option taking them out the home and taking them to a relative,
So
or is that more?
So
upsetting
it can be.
for them?
It depends on the animal. A lot of cats are quite anxious in terms of going to new environments. So when we see them in the vet, it's quite common that they either freeze or try and run away.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm like that in the dentist.
Yeah,
I'll be honest with you.
they don't particularly like the experience. But in terms of that, you will get some cats who are quite happy to go elsewhere, and it may be an option, even a next door neighbour, and say, look, would you mind them while the workmen are in? It is definitely something to discuss with others, or a cattery. But as I said, if you are concerned, then if you speak to your vet, they may be able to offer other advice or possibly prescribe medications, which could sort of ease things a little bit more.
Moving on, I've got another. This is probably the longest one email I've had in. I'm having an ongoing issue with my dog's skin.
Yeah.
It looks like blackheads on his back.
Yeah.
Fungal infections in his ears. Parasitis type presentation.
Yeah.
Underneath and around his groin area, and weeping gunky eyes. I'm feeding him Royal Canine hypoallergenic.
Yeah.
He's having crypto point injections, like Cytopoint. There you go. Monthly.
Yeah.
Antibiotics, antifungals, eye drops, bathing with a special shampoo every few days. And this has been going on for 6 months now. Any advice would be appreciated.
Of course. So
there's a lot going on there,
there's
isn't
a lot
there?
going on. And this is something that we have seen much more frequently over the last sort of 10 years, really. Allergies being a really common issue. Generally with these animals, they are also quite itchy. Often owners will report that there's a smell, they're licking themselves all the time. The skin's red, it's sore. It's a very difficult and sort of time-consuming sort of type of case to try and get to the bottom of. And in a lot of cases, even if you can get to the root cause, the majority of these cases are only things that we can manage and not cure in every case. So I was always taught at university, itch is a pain, and a pain is an acronym. So P is parasites, A is allergy, I is infection, N, which we put in brackets, is neoplasias, which is cancers, was generally only those if it's glaringly obvious or if we've ruled everything else out. But if you're up to date with parasite treatment, if infection has been ruled out, which maybe in this case it sounds like it's been treated at least with medication, then allergies, lots of investigation can take place. So food trials, it sounds like a food trial is already underway. Blood tests, skin intradermal tests can be performed, which may lead to other treatment options. You can always go for a referral to a dermatologist if it sort of goes past what a first opinion vet may be able to sort of assist with. But a lot of these cases do end up on what we call multimodal therapy, so shampoos, medication to reduce itchiness and redness, occasionally antibiotics and antifungals to manage the sort of overgrowth of bacteria. And then parasite treatment as well. But it is a very, very complicated subject.
I mean, we live in an age now where we have a lot of designer dogs. And I mean, I've noticed. I mean, Max there is destroying something behind you and just walking past you. He's a Doberman, but you don't see many Dobermans these days. You don't see many Alsatians these days. You see a lot of sausage dogs. Are they Dachshunds?
Yeah, Dachshunds.
And Shih Tzus, and they're the in dogs to have. I mean, because of the breeding and sort of the being designer dogs. I mean, there's lots of mixes now. I mean, years ago we used to call them mongrels. But
Heinz
now
57.
Heinz 57. But now, you know, they're sort of bred for being half one dog, half another dog. Have we bred ourselves into a problem?
Yeah, there's no doubt that inbreeding and even sort of what our class as crossbreeds, but you know, mixes of sort of common breeds now, cockapoos or, you know, poodle crosses, spaniel crosses. There are a lot of issues that individual breeds have that when you cross those can exacerbate, you know. So do you see ear issues in the sort of spaniel breeds?
Like I always remember there was, I mean, this is probably way before your time, but there used to be a certain politician on TV, Clement Freud. And he had his dog with him all the time, and he went on to advertise pet food and stuff like that. And the dog was called Henry, but with the longest ears. It was like some kind of like a bloodhound spaniel, that type of thing. It's virtually, it was tripping over its own ears.
Yeah, like a basset hound.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So I mean, with ears sort of that size, is that causing problems? Picking stuff up from the grass.
I mean, a lot of these breeds. I mean, they're generally bred for their looks and the as you said before, the designer, what people like. Also, the demographic of owners have changed over time, where a lot of owners now are young professionals, maybe live in sort of tower blocks or sort of in the city, where having a large dog, you know, in a 1 or 2 bedroom flat isn't appropriate. So, you know, it's quite common. And also, you know, allergens or allergies in people has increased. So hypoallergenic animals, so sort of poodles and animals that don't shed as readily, is a common thing. People don't like hair on their furniture, but they like their animals on the couch, you know. So I think because there's been a lot of sort of a drive in that way, we do see an exacerbation of certain issues more readily now. And we're very lucky, you know, a lot of people now have insurance. So if a vet such as myself get to the sort of point of our experience and can't get you answers, we still have colleagues and specialists who we can always speak to for advice. Sometimes that will be free, and I will always try and reach out for advice from colleagues where I can. Otherwise,
I mean, pet insurance is a big thing these days, isn't it?
It is,
and it comes to the point sometimes you think, oh, I wish I had pet insurance, when you actually need it.
And that's the hard thing, is sometimes, you know, we don't think about it until the time comes, or you've let it lapse because you've not used it for the last 8 years, and then suddenly something comes up. But it is important, you know, and of course, you know, as we said before, it's a business that vets run, but we do it because we love animals. And, you know, on my behalf, I try and do as much as I can to, you know, give people the options that are most appropriate for them without them running up large bills. And if we can try and help with costs in some ways, we've put things in place to try and assist with that. But insurance is really important. Especially, you know, when the inevitable happens, and something that we can't fix in-house.
But by being an independent vet, and I'm not going to go too much into the subject, but because you're not part of a large conglomerate, you don't have the same sort of pressure on you to give certain advice, or push people down a certain route.
So,
you know, it's not just money orientated, is it?
No, so, you know, so from my point of view, we aim to try and pass on any savings that we can make from sort of medications or from our suppliers to try and make sort of costs low for the clients. But we also have to be able to pay our bills and pay the staff.
I mean, at the end of the day,
be there for people, because that's all I want to do, is I want to be there for people when they need us. But you know, the sort of book stops with me. If there's any concerns, I'm who the clients will come to discuss those concerns, and I'm not sort of there to pay any shareholders and hopefully sort of be around for a long time and giving people just a good, independent, first opinion option, really.
Yeah.
You know, and
I mean, we're coming to the festive period now.
Yeah.
And I mean, Max, he's been very well behaved behind you because he's destroying something. So his mind's elsewhere. But I mean, he's a bit of a devil because if he can find a large supply of chocolate somewhere, and he's very determined when he wants to be. So say for example, underneath your Christmas tree, you've got a selection box. And I'm not sure about. I don't know a great deal about cats, but I know. Dogs, chocolate is a poison for dogs, isn't it?
Yeah, so it is. So cats generally don't eat chocolate. They've got other poisons that are a concern in this sort of festive period.
Oh, right, okay.
Which we can sort of touch on in a minute. But in terms of dogs, chocolate is one of the big ones. So chocolate contains a molecule called theobromine, and that in itself can cause excitability, tremors, increased heart rate. And convulsions, in some cases. So it is sort of really sort of key to try and avoid that. White chocolate is significantly less of a risk, but there is still risks in terms of digestion. Up to dark chocolate and 85% chocolate being. Is
it something which is linked to the size of the dog? If it's a small dog, is it more more dangerous?
It depends on the quantity that they eat. I don't have the sort of chart to hand. But there's a calculation that we can work out based on the type of chocolate that they've eaten, the weight of the dog, the amount of chocolate that they've eaten, and we can sort of determine whether that's a level which should be deemed safe and may just cause sort of gastrointestinal issues.
So if the dog does eat sort of a reasonable amount of chocolate, should we say, a couple of bars of chocolate or whatever, is it something that we should be rushing to the vets with, or do we think, do you know what, we'll keep an eye on the dog and see how
really,
it goes?
if they've eaten it within a couple of hours, then the aim really is to try and make them sick and bring up as much of that chocolate as possible. So it's not something that we would recommend owners try and make them sick at home. Because a lot of the sort of products that you can use is quite caustic. You could cause other issues, respiratory issues if they swallow it the wrong way. But phoning the vet, take them in. There is products that we can give to induce vomiting to try and bring up as much of that chocolate material as possible. And then from then, it will either be, if it's sort of very soon, sort of stomach protection and sort of monitoring, management. In some cases, they may need to be hospitalised if it's been over 2 hours and they've not brought much up, and they may need fluids for a few days. And monitoring for any sort of signs of sort of increased heart rate, struggling with seizures or other things like that.
So you touched on cats briefly. So I mean, obviously, I'm not a cat person, so I don't know a great deal about cats.
No,
so, apart from to me, they don't come up and say, "Hiya, Dad."
Yeah, so in terms of cats, probably the biggest thing that we see in cats really is lily poisoning. So over Christmas, it's quite common that we have sort of Christmas flowers. Sometimes lilies are sort of included in those, poinsettias and things. So in terms of lilies, no part of the plant has been determined the active part. So any part of a lily plant can be toxic to cats and can send them into kidney failure.
Wow. I didn't know that.
In terms of any cat owners, we'd always suggest try and avoid having lilies in the house. We generally... Occasionally we get flowers in the practice as gifts from people, and if lilies are included in those, we will generally remove them because cats come into the practice. So, in terms of that, if there's been any contact with lilies or the owners have seen them chewing them on the table, then it's sort of really key that they are seen. A lot of these animals may need to go on fluids for a number of days, blood tests to check their kidney values. And again, it's something that we don't think of, especially when things are given as gifts. People give them as a thank you. Purely innocence. And, especially, indoor, we talked on an indoor cat before. Indoor cats will look for things to sort of chew and eat as a way to stimulate themselves. And sometimes that could be, plants that are sat on the table.
Oh, right, okay.
So it's just things to consider.
So, talking about things that dogs and cats eat.
Yeah.
So... tin food versus raw food. Raw food will be obviously more expensive.
So when you say raw, it depends on whether you're talking about raw food or home cooked food, or
Right,
if you're talking
okay,
about
so-
purely raw diet.
So Max, there, I mean, he's just looked at me. He's on raw food. We buy raw food
Right,
for him.
yeah, so like packaged, yeah.
When he's on tin food,
Yeah.
and also like the kibbles and stuff like that,
Yeah.
and hopefully out there you're not having your lunch just yet, but his bowel movements.
Yeah.
If he's on the raw food,
Yeah.
it's like every bit of moisture has
Yeah.
been taken out of it and sort
Yeah.
of utilized. Whereas on tin food,
Yeah.
sometimes it can be a bit
One way or
sloppier.
the other,
Yeah,
yeah.
one way or the other. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like to. Yeah.
So again, it sort of goes back to what we were discussing before with these sort of animals and allergies. So gastrointestinal disease is common. I'm not an advocate for raw food one way or another. So in terms of what I will say is I have cases such as Max, who owners will come and say he's fed raw food, he does really well, he's got great, bowel movements, his skin looks really good, he's bright and active and he's happy, and that's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And you've done your research and made sure that the raw food that you're purchasing is appropriate, is
Well, I might have led you
processed,
down the garden path a little bit there. he eats all his food, which is raw food.
Yeah.
But he also eats half of my food as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but again, in terms of where you source your food, it's all
Yeah.
the sort of source of that. The biggest issues that we do see is things like E. coli and salmonella from raw. But again,
Okay.
that's more likely in cases where owners are buying chicken carcasses off the shelf and using those rather than processed raw food, from a sort of a manufacturer.
Yeah, I mean, I must admit, some of it does look
Some of it
fairly
is-
disgusting.
Yeah. So, but again, it's been appropriately sort of supplied.
Yeah, and there's all
But-
sorts of bits of bone in it and bits of
Yeah.
everything in it. Really,
So in
isn't it?
terms of, for him, if that works really well, then that's great. Bone is something that is a very conscientious subject from the vet's point of view. We do see cases where I've removed many a bone from a dog, because
So-
it got stuck.
So,
You know,
cooked bones versus raw bones. So cooked bones are more splintery.
They are,
Is that
yeah.
right?
So
And
they
they're
are.
a bad thing.
but we can see in raw bones, so with cooked bones, when they splinter, it's more likely to cause trauma in terms of sort of shredding. Whereas cooked bones, often with those, especially if they're smaller ones, they will often swallow them whole and they're more likely to get stuck, especially as they transit through the small intestines, really. So I'm not, as a vet, I'm not an advocate for sort of providing bones, but I'll always give that advice. And if owners have never had a problem, that's fantastic. But I'm always there on hand if they ever do.
Yeah.
And they need our assistance, just to be sort of conscious. But yeah, so cooked bones, there is a higher risk for them shattering, really.
Yeah. So that was a question by Keely, by the way. So
lovely.
well done, you, Keely. Thank you very much for putting that one in. We obviously we're having our Christmas dinners and stuff like that, and the dogs are looking at us.
Yeah.
Even the cats looking at us with those puppy eyes, shall we say? Are we all right giving them a bit of Christmas dinner? Is that okay?
So again, you've got to be sort of careful in there. So I mean, leftovers, you've got to be careful that things haven't been sat out on the side and gone mouldy. So of course that's one issue. The biggest issue really is things like onions, leek, garlic, which in sage and
Okay,
onion
so-
stuffing, in Yorkshire puddings, some of the sausages that you buy, or the turkey's been rolled and stuffed. So
Yeah.
those can be a sort of a cause concern in terms of gastrointestinal disease, and onions especially, they can lead to anemia, sort of destruction of the red blood cells, and can make them quite poorly. So it's definitely something to be conscious of. A bit of roast turkey that's not seen anything else probably isn't too bad.
Yeah.
Fatty foods, certain dogs are prone to pancreatitis, so foods which are higher in fat can often set that off. And that's the last thing you want on Christmas Day, to be going to the out of hours vet at
Yes. Yeah, it
11
is.
at night,
Yeah.
with a dog that's really poorly. So
Do you know what? So little time and so many questions, but I've got to take a quick little ad break. But
Okay.
please stay with us.
no problem.
Looking to improve the look, energy, efficiency and security of your home? With Evolve window systems, whether it be UPVC or aluminium, we offer A-rated Pass 24 security products with exclusive colours and designs. All of our installations come with fencer certification and a 10-year insurance-backed guarantee. We are currently scoring 9.5 out of 10 on HomePro's independent review. So call us on 0151 523 3336 or via our website, evolvewindowsystems.co.uk, for a free no obligation quote.
Everything half price. Yes, you heard me right. Everything is half price. With the Merseyside Sofa and Bed Company flash sale, we have hundreds of beds and sofas available for Christmas delivery. And yes, everything is half price. Visit our showroom on Stopgate Lane, Aintree, and see our amazing Christmas flash sale with a massive 50% off. You won't believe your eyes. Get comfy with a new bed or sofa just in time for Christmas from Merseyside Sofa and Bed Company.
On air, online, on your smart speaker, and Freeview channel 277. This is the music you know, the city you love. Broadcasting from the heart of the city, this is Liverpool Live. The mid-morning show with the big fella, Rod Keay.
Michael Bublé, or the Mickey Bubble as we know him here on Liverpool Live. Jonathon Kelly is in the studio with us, and we've been having a good chat. He's from Rimrose Vets, a new practice which has opened about 5 months ago. Is that correct, Jonathan?
Correct. Yeah, that's it.
So, I mean, obviously Christmas is the time when people are going to be finishing work, and it's like the festive period, the holidays and stuff like that. If an emergency comes up and they're not registered with yourselves, how can they get in touch with you, and how can they find out where your opening hours are, what your availability is, and basically whether you'll see them?
Yeah, of course. So anybody is free to register with us. So go to our website, which is www.rimrosevets.co.uk, and they can register online on the homepage. And once they've done that, they can give the practice a call, and one of the team will be able to arrange them an appointment. We are open between 8:30 and 6 p.m, Monday to Friday, and 8:30 until 12 p.m. on a Saturday. Over Christmas, we're open on Christmas Eve until 6 p.m, and then after 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve, we're then closed on Christmas Day, Boxing Day, and then on the Saturday and Sunday we're closed as well, and we're back open on the Monday. During those,
so you don't get much of a break, really, do you?
You don't get much of a break, but a small amount to spend some time with the kids. But during that time, we're very lucky that the out-of-hours provider, Vets Now, who's the provider that we use, they're going to be open all throughout that period. And if you phone our practice and the phone lines are closed, you'll be diverted to Vets Now, where they will be able to
that's
assist.
a good little lifeline, really, isn't it? It's a bit of reassurance.
It's really important. You know, it's a very important thing that we are able to provide 24 hours of care as a profession. If we can't provide that in our practice, we obviously have people who can assist with that. But during our opening hours, it also depends on the emergency, because we get quite a lot of emergencies, and we'll always try and triage. So some cases we may deem aren't an emergency, and we will try and fit people in sort of where appropriate.
So over the festive period, is there an emergency or a classic that you see more than usual?
So the biggest
with
thing,
the
I mean,
pets?
chocolate is the biggest thing.
Yeah.
So 100% chocolate, or so eating foreign bodies, whether that's bits of tinsel, whether it's bones, or
It's
whether
a Lego.
it's toys from the kids, or the kids' new socks,
Yeah.
So it does happen. So they're the things that we do see. The most common things are vomiting and diarrhea, and that's usually the things that upsets the owners the most when they're trying to sit.
I thought you were talking about the owners then.
Yeah, when they're trying to enjoy their Christmas dinner,
Yeah.
having to deal with the mishaps of their animals
With the pets.
on the floor. So in terms of that, a lot of cases, same in ourselves, a period of starvation, bland food can be enough. Viral cases we do see. We generally won't jump straight to the doctors when we vomit once. But if it becomes something that's consistent, it's happening without eating,
because they can't tell us, really.
They can't tell us.
Yeah,
No,
you just
they
got to
seem
look for the
uncomfortable.
signs.
Yeah, so they seem uncomfortable. Any of those things, or you are genuinely worried about your pets, either ourselves or another practice, even the practices, a lot of owners, I hope, are registered with the vets, and I'm happy, they are happy with the care that they get. Them perfect, and they've built up their trust with their vets.
Yeah,
they'll all be there to provide that service, and if they're not open, then
it also provides you, if you built up the trust, it's like a reassuring thing, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. And sometimes a bit of advice, we'll always give advice over the phone where necessary. It is a business, but ultimately for us, we want clients not to come in because that means that their pets are doing okay. But of course, if they're not doing okay, we want to be there and give them a decent option.
Yeah.
And I think if people have got that trust in us and the sort of faith, quite nice that they don't feel that we're there to make money. We're there to give them the advice that
Yeah.
they need. And sometimes
Because
that's
you
going
touched
on,
when we were having a chat off air, you touched on something which was the oath that you take as being a vet, and obviously money's important to everybody because you need to go down the supermarket the same as everybody else and pay your mortgage
That's right, yeah.
and all the rest of it. But like a doctor, you have a duty of care, don't you?
Of course we do. Yeah, and for us, emergency care, we will always provide emergency care as far as we can, whether that's to wildlife, whether that's to an animal that's just come in with an owner. And some owners come in with very small amounts of money, and we will always try and provide the options that are most suited to them, sort of within their means. I don't want anyone going away with large bills that are beyond what they can afford.
No.
And
also, it must be very difficult because if people come in with the pets, and as I say, we are a nation of animal lovers. We get very attached to our pets, and when we open the door of a night and go in, they're there to greet us, wagging tails and happy to see us, and even the cats as well, allegedly.
Yeah, occasionally.
Yeah. So how do you deal with giving bad news?
Bad news is always a hard one. I think there's a level, that they, from the professional level, they're not our pets.
No.
So
see, do we go back to the duty of care thing where it's you think, well, do you know what? So euthanasia or ending a pet's life is the humane thing to do rather than
it always has
prolong
to be. Yeah, it always
any
has
pain
to be. And I think
as much as you love them.
What's important is that as a professional, we're able to give people the most appropriate advice based on the cases that we see and the experience that we've got. I can see animals that come in and I know those owners aren't ready, but I know that animal is ready, and I've got to be able to give them that advice. And even if I can give them the advice to say, well, look, let's try and give supportive care for 24 hours while you take that news in, come to terms, and then we make it as okay as we can. And it's never okay. This is a family member. They're a big part of our life. But we want to make sure that whenever we make a difficult decision, we do it for the right reason.
Because the loss of a pet is always devastating, isn't it?
Of course it is.
The
loss of anybody, but a pet, as you said, they're there all the time. They're constantly dependent on us, and the fact is, you get up every morning, they're waiting for their food, they're in your bed, they're waiting for their walk, and when we lose them, that
waiting for their walk is an understatement with this dog here. He literally
waiting to take you on a walk.
He torments me to such an extent that it's clear he wants to get out that door and go for a walk. Yeah. Max, come here. I mean, just oh God, he's got his collar half on and half off at the moment. But I mean, it's great because an empty house is never an empty house with a pet, is it?
It's not, and I think I've had a lot of owners who, they've lost their animals and we've given them advice and made difficult decisions. And sometimes owners take many years to decide to get a new pet. Some will make a decision much sooner than that. And I'll say to everybody, you're never replacing them.
No.
So you're filling that void in your life.
It's always a different adventure.
Yeah, you're filling that void in your life. You've got that space in your home that needs to be filled. And you never forget them, and the mark that they've had on your life. Yeah. But sometimes we're very lucky in our profession that we can make a decision of euthanasia to say, we don't need to see you suffer. And I think that's really important, that we don't need to see animals suffer and we can let them go as humanely as possible.
And that's the important thing to take out from that, really, isn't it? Okay, we're going to take another quick musical break and then we will wrap things up, which is quite a festive thing to do, isn't it? Yeah. Wrapping Christmas presents for the dog.
Well, my heart knows it better than I know myself, so I'm gonna let it do all the talking. I came across a place in the middle of nowhere with a big black horse and a cherry tree. I felt a little fear upon my back. I said, don't look back, just keep on walking. But the big black horse said, look this way. He said, hey, that day, will you marry me? But I said, no, 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 no. I said, no, no, you're not the one for me. No, 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 no. I said, no, no, you're not the one for me. Ooh. And my heart hit a problem in the early hours, so I stopped it dead for a beat or two. Ooh. Ooh. But I cut some cord and I shouldn't have done it, and it won't forgive me after all these years. Ooh. So I sent it to a place in the middle of nowhere with a big black horse and a cherry tree. Ooh. Ooh. Now I won't come back 'cause it's all so happy, and now I got a hole for the world to see. Yeah.